Hey guys, it's Brandon here again at Vape Extreme. Today I'm going to bring you a toy review. I got an order in a while back from canvapes.com, and there was a couple things that I ordered, and one really neat thing that they had sent me to do a review on. It's a neat little device, but I want to spend a little bit more time with it, and actually I've got two rebuildables that I want to kind of review, do a bit of a how-to, because there's a bunch of videos out there on how to build the Genesis style atomizers, how to rebuild wick and coils, so on and so forth. So I'm going to kind of do my own rendition on how I do it, I guess. Lately I've been having a few issues with the stainless steel Genesis style atomizers. I've been playing with one that I want to do a review on. I just can't seem to get it quite right, so I'm going to play with it a little bit more before I actually do the video on it. So, but today I ordered in a tank system that doesn't use the regular flange style cartomizers. Main reason being is I'm not a big fan of regular cartomizers. It's not that I don't like the way that they perform, it's just I've been so used to using carto tanks, and I've been ordering in the actual cartos that have the flange on the bottom, pre-punched, ready to go, drop them in your tank and you're rocking. But I have a crap load of XL Bogue cartos, and just some, I had a China supplier send me a couple boxes of, I'm not going to say they're regular size cartomizers, they're a little bit larger, they're not quite XL. I love the way they perform, I hate the fact that they're small. And everybody knows that you can, where'd it go? Order in carto punching tools. I have my box of vaping stuff, and I can't find, oh, there it is. Let me get it. Sorry guys, most of my stuff's been packed and I'm just dealing with the rations that I have now. But anyway, I ordered in a carto punching tool from Canvapes. I do have the saddle valve. The only issue that I have with that is with your, one sec. There we go. With your regular cartomizer tanks, one of the issues that I was finding with the saddle valve is it was kind of squishing the tube of the cartomizer and making the cartomizer oblong, which made it a real pain to get them in and out. These are basically just smoke tech tanks. But yeah, the biggest issue that I was having is that they were hard to get the cartomizers out. Well, of course you got to slide the tank up over the top of the cartomizer to fill these. So it was becoming a bit of a problem. So basically all I did is I took all of my regular cartomizers and just set them off to the side. I know you can slot them as well. I have become somewhat lazy, I guess, in my vaping habits. I figured the easier the better at this particular point in time, just because in a lot of cases I just don't have time to fiddle around with stuff when I can basically just grab one pre-punch, drop it in a tank, and I'm good to go, right? But there is a company, I believe it's called UD. They've made a couple neat products that I've seen out on the market. One being the AGR. Now, basically what this is a, how could I word it? Flexible, that would be a good word. A flexible carto tank. Comes in a couple pieces. Right now, I already have it fully assembled and filled with Maple Leaf Vape's fresh blueberries, actually. But it comes in, or comes with, sorry, two different tanks. One being the smaller and larger size for your XL cartos, the smaller tanks obviously for your standard size cartos, or however you really want to put it together. You could actually put that together with an XL. You just have a long tip at the top. But either way, there's not really much in a performance because it's really the carto that's doing most of your performance. But here's a what are these? They're 2.8 ohm, or so they're basically supposed to be a 3 ohm, but they're 2.8 ohm resisted single coil Vogue cartomizer. Performing very well. Vaping it around 9.5 watts. There are some really neat things about this. Rocking on the Vamo, of course. My SID is in my truck with another thing that I was going to review today. But basically, I'm going to take you down low, take a look at it. Kind of try and do a up close, if I can here. We'll zoom you in a bit. Sorry guys, I'm kind of dealing with a fairly inexpensive camera, but it's working for the time being. So basically what you get, of course, you do not get a drip tip, and you do not get any cartomizers with this at all. I'm going to break this down, empty it out, and I'll just basically clean it out and refill it and show you how it goes together. But to break it down is pretty simplistic. So basically all you're going to do is, at this point, I'm going to unscrew. There's also a little fill hole here, and I'll show you that when I go to fill it. But I'm just going to thread that off. Main reason I'm doing that is as you're unscrewing the top of the tank, you'll have to excuse the dirty hands, guys. I'm trying to get a couple Sea-Doos back together here for the weekend. But basically what's going to happen is as you're unscrewing the top cap, there's going to be pressure in here, and as you're pulling it up, well, actually not pressure, it's going to be a vacuum. So as you're pulling it up, it's going to suck juice and flood this cartomizer. So if you take the top cap off, it should eliminate most of that. So just thread the top cap off, and we'll just pop that off, set that to the side, and we're just going to dump the juice back in. I just filled this the other day, so that is that. At that point, you can now remove the other part of the tank section. It's a little slippery. So there's your large tank section there. Then at that point, it's a two-part base, which will thread apart. So there's your actual base. It has your air channels cut in, as you can see, and then of course a 510 connection on the bottom. Now that's basically all there is. So that there is basically the AGR, right? Yeah, AGR. Sorry, I've been kind of confusing myself with the AGs. So I'm just going to grab a paper towel here. I'll just clean some of this up a little bit. And I'll show you how it goes together. I know I kind of showed you how to break it apart, but I'll kind of show you how to set up for punching your cartos. So it's at the right spot at the bottom, not you know, too high or too low. Just kind of the way that I do it, I guess. But I'm not going to bother cleaning the inside of the tank, so it's not a big issue. So basically the way that I set it up is I will grab the actual base that the cartomizer goes into. So this is the one that just threads into the tank. Basically all I did was stick it in, and then you can basically take a marker or a pen of some sort, and you want to put it, whoops, I'm going the wrong way here, as close to the bottom as you can. Just mark it with either a marker or a pen, or scratch it, or just put a little bit of a mark on it. Then of course at that point, with your mark in place, you can take your carto punching tool, slide it so that it's over the mark. And I'm not going to punch this again because I don't want to, I'm using a fairly thin juice, so I don't really want to over flood it. But just basically put on your mark, you know, tighten your carto tool down until it punches a decent size hole. You don't want to shove it all the way in. Of course, depending on the style or what the ratio of your juice is going to vary, of course. But just keep in mind, if you're using a thinner juice, you don't want to have a huge hole. Otherwise, it's just going to flood your cartomizer quickly. Now, of course, the nice part is with it using the standard cartos, you can use the condom method for priming your cartomizer, which is something you should always do first before inserting it. It just makes it easier rather than trying to drip it through the top. I'll generally take, I don't have any out now because, like I said, all my stuff's been packed. But I'll generally take one of the condoms and fill it up a couple times just to make sure that the batting's nice and saturated. So basically at that point, take your cartomizer, just push it in. It's just basically an O-ring on the inside, and then of course you have an O-ring on the outside. But you just push it in. No, you cannot thread it on at this point because it will not fire unless you have a device that you have a adjustable center pin where you can push it fairly high, because keep in mind there's about 1/8 of an inch of a gap between the base of the carto and what's coming out the bottom, so it might be kind of hard that way. Then at that point, you just take your cartomizer, thread it onto your base, and that is the base part assembled. If you want, like I said, you can throw the shorty tank on with the extended or the XL cartomizers. I tried it. I didn't really like the way it looked, so I went back to the larger size tank. So it basically just threads on. Like I said, guys, I've been using this for a couple days now. I haven't had any leaking issues. The only time that I had an issue, and it wasn't having anything to do with the actual AGR, I just basically punched the hole too big in the cartomizer. I don't know, I wasn't thinking, I guess, when I punched it. And of course it flooded the cartomizer when I left it alone for a while, to say the least. So now, all you're going to do at that point now is just, you can use one of those slap your mama drip tips to push it over. I should be doing that, but I didn't because my slap your mama is packed. Anyway, So anyway, there you go, guys. There it is, fully assembled. So let's go ahead and fill it up with some juice. Actually, I'm just going to thread it onto a mod here, just to hold it up. And there we go. I just got to find... do I have another one? I do! So I have a bunch of these bottles that have these needle tips on it, which is great for a device just like this. So all I'm really going to do is I'm just going to actually take the cap off and whoops, thread it back on. So as you can see, we're using fresh blueberries, 12 milligram juice from Maple Leaf Vapes. So now at that point, all you're going to do is, you can see the fill hole here. You're just going to shove the syringe inside, and I'll see if you can see this because it is a fairly clear juice, and just squeeze it in there. And you can pretty much fill it. I wouldn't go quite right to the top. Leave a bit of an air gap in there. I've seen a few people that have had issues when they fill it right to the top. The juice doesn't feed because there's no flow, I guess, for the juice. I'm not really 100% sure what the deal is. So I generally leave a little bit of an air gap inside the cartomizer just to be on the safe side. So now I'm just going to take this cheap plastic drip tip, just because it's what I found when I started using it, and let's give it a vape. So again, performing outstanding. Absolutely no airflow issues whatsoever, simply due to the fact of the cuts in the bottom. I was a little concerned that by the time you had everything assembled, there might have been a little bit of a restriction. I am a big fan of Bogue cartos. I will openly admit that. And I love their air draw. It's perfect for my taste. That's why I kind of got discouraged and didn't want to ruin any more cartos by trying to punch them with a saddle valve. So that's why I ended up ordering in a carto punch and the AGR. So guys, if you're looking for a carto tank that's flexible with what cartomizer you use, rather than always having to get the flanged ones from Smoke Tech. I was a big fan of those at the first part of my vaping experience, and I don't know what happened with the QC at Smoke Tech, but they're dual coil flanged cartos. They don't work. They either flood or they burn or they have issues. I'm not sure what's changed or what the deal is. I never had a chance to break one apart to see if there was any difference, because all the old ones I had were already thrown in the garbage, so I didn't really have a chance to do a comparison. But anyway, guys, the AGR, basically it's a flexible carto tank, allows you to use standard cartos if you have a bunch of them kicking around and you want to use them. Here's something you can use them in. So yeah guys, that's all I got for you today. So as always, let's keep on vaping.